Hey, everyone, and welcome to Signals from the Frontline, your every Wednesday live broadcast brought to you by Frontline Gaming. We are your hosts, Kicker, the Chief of Serial, and Sigilite of
Whoa,
FLG.
whoa! That's a new term. All right.
Well, I thought it was appropriate. The Emperor Reese has retired to the Golden Reese throne, and that leaves you as his authority. So I figured we'll call you the Sigilite of FLG.
All right. Well, I appreciate it,
Um,
Seth the Mad Doc, our competitive correspondent. But you
yes,
see, that just
thank you.
that just seems more official. Sigilite just that seems like royal here. I'm just a guy in the industry that kind of knows a few things. But
And that's all the Sigilite was. He was just a guy helping out the Emperor, just a guy helping
the
him out.
problem is Sigilite. That's like I don't think, do most people know what that means? Like, that's not a
If you're
common.
watching this show, I think you know what
All
Sigilite
right, all right,
means.
fair. I'll take
Like if you put that on a business card and handed that out, I don't think you're going to get a lot of knowledge. But this
it.
show, like chat,
There we
do you
go.
know what a Sigilite is?
I kind of want a Frontline Gaming business card now that says that exact same thing.
Well,
Sigilite.
all
Okay,
right.
I'll
So,
take it.
Kicker, what have you been up to?
Well, guys, I have been kicking it into holiday gear. I think I've always thought this. Halloween is really just tailgating for the holidays. So I'm full throttle holiday mode right now.
Yeah,
With that said, I've already been buying myself early Christmas presents, more orcs, more models, more stuff to paint. And
so
can we
many
bring
more
up my
orcs.
my hobby progress? There we go. Oh, is that gorgeous? Yes, I've been
Yeah,
working.
I love those, man.
Thank you,
Those are
man.
great.
If you are not
Smash the
watching,
squigs.
if you're just listening to us, you should be watching us every Wednesday live. You can see my beautiful hobby progress right now. I've painted 3 knobs on Smash the Squigs, and they are gorgeous. I kind of think it was my creamsicle team because they're all like
Yeah.
orange, color, orange and white colored. So creamsicle, yeah. Anyway, they're a lot of fun. What about you, Seth? What have you been up to, man?
I had to take some time off last week to see some family for some kind of emergency issues, but that's all been handled, so we're doing good there. I may have succumbed, folks, to the speed wog. So
Oh
I've
no,
to be
no,
fair,
no.
like in my defense, I have like over 10,000 points of orcs painted as freebooters. I have like 95% of a speed wog list already built and painted from years ago. And so I literally had to buy and build one plane. So I've been working on that, trying to get ready for an event. I guess I haven't been on since
Yeah.
I made a display board. But I made a display board to go with a different army, and then I was like, well, I want to do Speedwalk instead. So, um,
Oh,
yeah. So I also I've made a nice Carcharodon's chain axe. They're
oh, that
modeled
was a
by my lovely chain axe of a wife.
dude. You made that
Um,
yourself?
yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, finished building that. And I have been authorized by the offices of Shelbert to update everyone on what's been going on with
Yes,
her.
people need an update.
Yes. So Shelby is currently going through a job change and moving to Atlanta. So that's kind of taken up a lot of her time. And then, um, smartly or unsmartly, has also continued to work at her old job full time as
Oh,
well, at
wow.
least through the end of November. So she's working 2 full-time jobs and moving during the month of November to a
Wow.
different city. So that's kind of eaten up all of her time. So that's kind of where she's been, folks. So hopefully, when she gets through that, and she can rejoin us down the line. So expect to see her once she gets through all that and life gets settled down.
Good.
But now that that's all been dealt with, Kicker, take us into the industry news.
All right, guys. Well, we have some new products this week. Nothing too crazy. The one thing that I have to talk about though is the really cool Christmas we got to say holiday, even though he's wearing a Santa Claus hat. I think the Christmas holiday winter special model, the Red Gobbo. It's a little goblin riding a squig. The squig's got antlers. It's so much fun. They've been
Yeah.
doing this every year. I'm sure, Seth, you've gotten every single one of these, right? I'm sure you do.
Well, they've only done one Red Gobbo like Christmas
You're right.
model,
You're
and
right.
I've got that one.
Did you have the
But
dwarf? I think they did dwarfs previously, right?
no, I didn't do those
Okay,
previously.
you're not a dwarf guy. Okay, you're just
Yep.
goblin. Well, what's cool? So they got this cool red gobbo, right? It's
Yep.
a holiday only special, model, which is probably going to only be released this year. And if you want it, you got to get it because it's going to be gone and you'll never get it again. But they're
Exactly.
also doing a book, a Red Gobbo book, which I'm
Yep.
legitimately excited for, just because I've always kind of been the guy to like root for the Grots. I always thought they were like the cool kids. So to have a
You've
whole
got to read the Gazgal book because it's told by Makari's
uh,
perspective.
really, I did not know that.
Yes,
Okay, done.
I have it. If you don't
Adding
have
it
it,
to my cart now to read.
yep.
Very cool. So yeah, and then they've also got the more plush, GW figures
Yep.
coming out, which is fun. I'm all for plush. I actually think that there's a bigger market for plush, GW, licensed stuff than there
Yeah.
are action figures. I don't. I mean, I would get my kid. I mean, I'd probably buy him an action figure too, but like getting him a little stuffed animal, squig is something that's way more it makes way more sense to me than getting him an action figure at this point. But
Yeah. Yep.
did you buy any of this yet, Seth? I'm sure. Come on, you definitely bought the
So,
Squig.
I went through a lot to get a Squig plushie.
Really?
Um,
Oh, went
yeah,
through a
because
lot.
they're
I
only
mean,
sold at the GW stores.
oh,
And I made this trip back and forth from Alabama to Pennsylvania, and I drove through multiple cities with GW stores and called all of them and was not able to get
did
my
you get
hands
the
on one. But
Squig?
fortunately, I put the word out on Facebook, and another orc fan was able to get his hands on one for me. So that's in the mail to me now. But
Okay, good.
yeah, so they were hard to get a hold of, but I got one.
Well,
Um,
I mean, that's really important because if anyone's gonna have a
yeah.
official GW plush Squig stuffed animal thing, it's you. So I'm
Yeah.
glad.
Now, Kicker, I've got to ask
Yeah,
you.
yeah. Shoot.
I want your opinion as marketing hat kicker.
All right.
Scented candles, 40K scented
Whew.
candles.
Okay, so I thought this was an April Fool's joke that GW was pulling,
So did I.
and then
I
like,
thought it was a freaking Photoshop.
yeah, I thought it was. I thought they were just totally trolling people because they're like doing like they did the advent calendar, right? They're doing these stuffed animals, and then
Yeah.
they're like, oh, and as a joke, we're doing scented candles. No, they're legit. GW has officially released scented candles,
So
and I think it's amazing. The
one
only
smells like Slanesh.
Hey, I mean that could be kind of romantic in the bedroom. All right, no, seriously, though,
We
dude.
don't want to know what you're up to, okay?
No,
Chat, don't go there.
okay.
Don't go
So
there,
at
chat.
the Lone Star Open, we had a vendor there that was selling his it was homemade candles that are all GW or
Yeah.
kind of that universe
Themed.
theme, Warhammer universe theme, and they sold really really well. So I guess there's a market there for scented candles from your favorite IP. So
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So that one kind of just completely caught me off guard. I literally saw that and I was like, ah, that's a funny joke. And then someone's like, no, man, it's real.
Well,
And I was like, what? No, hold on. And I had to go look and I was like, oh, what have we done?
I think the thing is that this is what you can do, Seth. You can buy these for your wife, but it's also a gift for yourself because I'm sure your wife would appreciate some nice scented candles, but you're also getting yourself a gift. So just consider
See,
that.
you're going that angle.
Yeah.
I was thinking more of okay, I'm a small game store and it has a funk because some people don't. And then I was just like, you know what? Let me light some scented candles. Boom, solved.
There we go.
And then, people are like, oh, that smells good. Let me buy one.
All right. Moving on from scented candles, let's get to
Yes.
the really important release, which I'm sure everyone's know about it. I know about it. It's the orc rules that are coming out in the second Arctarius. There's more information that's been released. We know it's basically just an orc supplement. There's some stuff about it. I think Rogue Trader's in there, but nothing.
Who cares about
who cares
them?
about them, right? It's basically a Speed Freaks
Yes.
Army Renown, I think.
Yeah, there's a Speed Freaks
And
supplement and a Blood Axis supplement in there.
So
Which is very interesting.
give me your 1 minute yes or no. Is this worth buying?
If you're an orc player, I'd say yes. Even if, and we'll get to this later in the show, if there's a big nerf coming for the Freebooters build, the Blood X component of it probably is going to have some legs. And even if, and they mentioned in the Cult of Speed, war bikes being OBSEC, which would be really good.
Yeah.
So I think there's certainly some meat on the bone there. So I'm in for it. They also are doing a Red Gobbo coin. So they're doing the Red Gobbo book, the Red Gobbo model, and a Red Gobbo coin, which means I have to go find myself another freaking orc coin.
But you can only get those coins from the GW store
at
if
the
you spend a
GW
certain amount of money,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
To be fair, several listeners have reached out, including Tamagotchi Express has reached out to help me with those. So I really appreciate that because there's no GW stores anywhere near me. But they're just dumping so much orc product. I think they're just specifically targeting my wallet because they know I just have to buy all of it.
It is really impressive, though, that this orc release has been massive. I mean, and it's still going.
It's been going since July.
Yeah, it's comical now. Well, I want to jump into some of the stuff that we have going on with Frontline Gaming. I just got an email from Frank asking me about the Cherokee Open. I get a lot of emails, guys, and so I apologize if it takes me a little bit of time to respond. But Frank was asking about the Cherokee Open and if it is confirmed what the format of the event's going to be. Frank also mentioned that he loves Golden Grams. He knows that I'm a sugary breakfast cereal fanatic, and I have to say, Golden Grams is a really underrated cereal. People just don't eat it, but you should. You should just go buy a box of it and just cherish it. Golden Graham. Have you ever had Golden Grams, Seth? Because
Oh yeah,
you
I've
should.
had them. I'm just trying to think of like my Golden Graham
Okay, so so
experiences.
so bear with me
I
here.
feel like it doesn't hold up very well
No,
in milk. It
no, no, no,
tends
no, no, it
to
does. It's got a
decompensate
nice
pretty
coating,
quickly.
so it doesn't get too soggy. It's also a thicker, more dense cereal, so it's got a little durability there built in. It's also got just a unique flavor profile. And come on, like there's so many flakes out there. There's so many puffs. There's so many Rice Krispie style cereals, but there's not too many like Golden Graham shaped. Anyway, we're going on a tangent, but just consider a box of Golden Grams. But back to what Frank was asking. He was asking about the format of the event, and we did run that poll. Do you remember that poll we ran, Seth? I'm sure you voted,
Yep,
right?
yep, yep. Whether we should do a teams event or a singles event.
Yeah, Seth. Yeah, yeah. And so the majority of people wanted a team event, and we were all gung ho to go a team event. But then we started doing a little bit more research from the Las Vegas team. And you want to say something? Go for it, Seth.
Tamagotchi Express specifically said in terms of Golden Grams, it's a cereal and not a snack? Question mark. And then Logan Heath says Golden Grams are the freebooters of cereal.
There we go. Boom. There we go. Logan Heath was our SoCal winner as well. I can get behind that statement. Yes, they are the freebooters of cereal.
I just saw, but the snack and not a cereal. I was like, to be fair, I think the last time I probably had Golden Grams, I was just like eating them out of a baggie.
But you can really do that with most sugary breakfast cereals. Yeah, guys. So I want to go into Cherokee really fast. So we basically, after Las Vegas teams, we did a little bit of research into that event, and I'm just going to read the statement that we had written up at the office this morning, guys. In response to the initial idea of Cherokee being a team event, after finishing the full audit on the Las Vegas team tournament, despite the overwhelmingly positive feedback on team events generally, team events seem to be a non-sustainable form from a financial perspective at any venue where we have to have a room requirement. We took a serious hit on it as people were piling too many into a single room, and the risk of doing it again makes team events very, very unappealing, as we'll be looking at losing a lot of money. And obviously, it doesn't make sense to lose money on any one of these events. It just doesn't work for us long term. We are going to go and run the Las Vegas team tournament again in 2022 at the same venue, and that will be the real litmus test as to if team events make sense in a nicer venue that come with a requirement to fill a certain number of rooms, guest rooms. We may be able to run them in venues that do not come with that type of requirement, though. Just standalone convention centers and whatnot, or fairgrounds like SoCal. And that is something that I'm actually on the hunt for right now. So, if you know a venue that is awesome, that we can, that meets the Frontline Gaming kind of caliber in terms of space, but doesn't have a hotel attached to it. Anyway, tell me, shoot me an email, Facebook message me, or whatnot. But for Cherokee, though, guys, it looks like that's just it's just too much of a risk for us to go through, as the potential downside, it would just be devastating to Frontline Gaming. So we can't take that risk at Cherokee, where we'd run it as a team event and then all of a sudden not fill the rooms there because everyone piles into one rooms. It'd just be too rough. With that said, Cherokee will be a singles event. It will be like and love the standard Frontline Gaming singles event, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Cherokee is a stunning venue. It's a brand new convention center. It opened up literally 2 weeks ago. If you were at ACO, it's very similar to ACO in terms of the layout, except that this whole thing is brand spanking new. It's got an attached arcade and bowling alley, and it's in just a gorgeous mountain town, in winter. So it's kind of this beautiful retreat vibe that you're going to get there, going and hanging out for the weekend. So we hope people are still excited for it. You should still be excited for it, because if you went to ACO, you had a great time, you're going to have an equally, if not better, time at Cherokee, because it is such a unique venue for us. That's what I wanted to say about that. What do you think, Seth? Are you devastated? I know you really are into team events, man.
I could go either way. I like team events, but kind of in my current area, I don't have a lot of other people to play with, so it's not as easy for me to get a team together.
Yeah.
That being said, I didn't tell you this, Kicker, actually, but in my drive to Pennsylvania, we actually drove like within minutes of this location. We went through the Cherokee Range and the Great Smoky Mountains.
Yeah, people don't realize
it is a very nice area.
Yeah, it's
and
gorgeous.
this event happens to be during like my wife's birthday weekend, and it was a nice enough area that she was like, "Yeah, I'll go and hang out and just do whatever I want while you go play 40K on my birthday."
Wow. I mean, dude, you know the kind of venues that Frontline Gaming puts our events at. Like, it's going to have the full resort experience. There's a beautiful spa. There's 3 pools, like 7 or 8 restaurants. Then even if you want to get outside of the resort, you're in this mountain town where it's literally it's gorgeous. So yeah, it's definitely one for the families. I also wanted to jump into talking about what's going on with the Sunday RTT. There seems to be this real misconception that the Sunday RTTs are kind of a way to make money. It gives people like Frontline Gaming, like we really don't make money on that. We just want to give people an opportunity to play, but more importantly, an opportunity to possibly get another score in for that same weekend,
Yeah.
because you can play a whole nother event that same weekend if you're not in the finals. So it's not really a cash grab, even though some people have thought that. But in response to a lot of the player feedback we've been getting recently, and this is going to be something we're doing for the first time ever, at Cherokee, players can just continue to keep on playing in the main tournament on Sunday. It'll be the same sort of setup as at the GW events. So basically, you can play the RTT and get another score in, possibly win $100 cash prize, or you can just decide to keep on playing in the main champs event through Sunday, and yes, that could raise or lower your score on Sunday, but at least it gives you an option to do whatever you want to do.
You've piqued my interest. Is it
Yeah.
like my knock against the system that they did at the GW event was because they placed you in brackets, you could never get higher than whatever the highest pot in your bracket was.
Yeah, I don't want to misspeak. I don't think that you'll be broken into brackets. It'll just be a
Okay.
continuation of the existing tournament format.
Okay. Yeah.
So you
No,
get to
I like
basically
that.
play another 3 games if you want. And that, like I said, that can raise or lower your score, right? If you lose all 3
Yeah.
games on Sunday, well, that actually brings you down, not by much, but it will bring you down a little bit. But you could also jump into the RTT because you want to start from scratch and maybe win a whole new little tournament. And of course, you can also just not play Sunday and enjoy the resort.
Yeah.
Like there's so much happening in this town. So
I like the flexibility because usually by that third day, some days I'm a little burned out.
yeah.
So just having the option of like, what do I want to do?
Yeah, well, the original reason we didn't have everyone play on Sunday except for the finals was because the vast majority of people are pretty tired after 2 days of 40K, 2 very intense days. So yeah, that is an option now moving forward. That will launch at Cherokee. I'm excited because we just we got the feedback and that's what people want, so we're gonna make it happen. Seth, do you have anything you want to talk about LVO? Have you got your LVO ticket yet?
I have my event ticket. Sorry, I have a other work text.
Oh, you said Seth is still technically on call. So guys,
Yeah. So I have my event ticket. I haven't got my flight yet.
Okay.
Just because I've long story short, I'm trying to figure out my work schedule around that time and when I can leave, and so I didn't want to commit to a flight.
Yeah.
Without knowing when I need to leave and when I need to be back.
Well, we're down to very few. I mean, the flight ticket, that's on you, but we're down to our room block, basically.
And I have my room.
Okay, good. I don't want you getting stuck and not staying at the venue. We did just add some more 40K champs tickets into the cart. So if you're listening to this live on Wednesday and you don't have an LVO 40K champs ticket, go get one right now. There's always people transferring tickets. Some people had to cancel because of work obligations. There are no more high roller tickets and there's no more big short packages. Those were like our very premium packages. Those will not be added to the web cart. So don't try and stick around waiting for those. Those are done. Those you won't get for LVO 2022 if you don't already have one. But the standard 40K champ ticket, as of right now, Wednesday at 9 p.m., they do have tickets available. Just a few though. So jump on those. We've also just added a lot of spots to the Star Wars Legion doubles event. That sold out the first day. The Star Wars Legion, I mean, I know that this is a 40K podcast, but the Star Wars Legion stuff is hot right now. And we decided to just double the size of the doubles event. So that's another thing you can jump on if you're interested. Something we've never, ever done before at LVO will be happening, will most likely be happening on Thursday. I want to make the formal announcement next week once it's all signed and everything's agreed upon. But basically, if you are a first-time LVO player, you might want to show up to the hall on Thursday and be part of something pretty epic. Moving right along,
Is this hazing? Is that what we're doing?
Yes, it's
I'm in.
hazing. It's hazing.
Let's do it.
It's hazing. I mean, yeah, totally. Of course, that's what we're gonna do. And then last but not least, we do have the New Orleans Open happening, and we're proud to say that we've partnered with Bad Wolf. Bad Wolf is a local hobby store, bar, restaurant here with a nice gaming hall. They have been so generous as to provide the challenge coin perk for the New Orleans Open. So if you're at the New Orleans Open and you have a couple of challenge coins in your pocket, you'll Bad Wolf will be buying you a drink at the bar in the hall. So bring your challenge coins to the New Orleans Open. And yes, this email, I've gotten this question asked a bunch recently. Yes, you can bring your wives, your partners, your significant others, your friends. Anyone is allowed into the venue at the New Orleans Open. So feel free to bring family to go.
What about a potential co-host of a show that's not here today?
Oh yes, but yes, that
Okay.
100%.
Okay.
Please,
Okay.
yes, tell
Okay.
tell her she can. And I was gonna tell you that you could bring your parrot. I know that you have a very impressive parrot at your house, and I think
Yeah.
that'd
No,
be
he
that.
doesn't want to come. He'd be
Oh, he doesn't want
grumpy.
to come. Okay, he doesn't play. All right, Seth. Why don't you take us into what's going on in the FLGN, or do you know, or
Yep.
am I doing
I
it?
do know
You
what's
know, you
going on
got
in the
this. Okay,
FLDN.
sweet.
This week, a new episode of Game Changers was released. This one features Tanya Gates herself, the War Mistress, and of course, the lovely Steve Joel does a great job interviewing her, getting her take on the community. Grim After Dark brought on Tyler to break down the new NIDS. The entertaining part being that Tyler is their editor, so God bless that his heart, because that man does a lot of work trying to make those two look good. And then chapter tactics, they discussed how to try to defeat the evil menace that is the freebooters, but they brought in venerable experts, Scary and Val
Oh
Heffelfinger.
wow, they brought in Val. Wow,
Yeah, Val made a reappearance
that's
finally on chapter tactics. So
wow.
go give that a listen, and it'll kick up your nostalgia. But speaking of nostalgia kicker, I'd
Yes.
like to get into today's main topic.
Ooh, wow. Why don't you maybe describe the overall concept that we're going with here?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
this is
So if
not normal
if you're
for us.
watching the show live right now, we titled this "Is Ninth Edition 40K Really That Bad?"
Hmm.
And I'm going to get to the meta talk here in a bit, but the main topic that we want to go through tonight is like back in my day. We're kind of talking about how things used to be in 40K and how they are today, to kind of show us how far we've come. Now, kicker, I did have a question for you. When did you start playing 40K?
Okay, I mean, I basically popped out of my mom's womb, and I'm like 40K. Okay. I mean, maybe not that extreme. I'd say by like 8 or 9, I had got my first
Mhm.
GW Mini. Now, was I playing 40K? No, I was playing like
But you
toy
were in the
soldiers.
hobby.
Yeah, but I was getting into the hobby. What about you, Seth?
I started in around 2000,
Okay,
which for me would have been I was like 14 or 15,
okay,
depending on quite exactly. But I got in third edition.
yeah.
Um,
But
but
did you know you were playing third edition? See, I don't even know what edition. I mean, I am 36, and so
oh, I
y-
didn't know it was called third
okay,
edition at that point.
yeah.
I just knew it was
It's just-
Warhammer.
okay, sweet, sweet.
But I so what the first thing we got up on screen here, Richard threw up models. Look at this old sprue. This is the Dark Eldar Warrior sprue
Wow, that's
out
bad.
of the third edition box set. I have
No.
that box set.
Wow.
Um,
Yeah, yeah. So
Look, there's like barely any options. You basically can give him like either the one-handed gun or the two-handed gun. You've got like very little possibility,
do
and
you
look
see
how
how much
much room is
negative
on there.
space there is?
Yeah,
Like, there's just
yeah,
a lot of empty space.
yeah, and this is just because that's what their casting technology was
Mm.
like back then. The old poses are all very much like in one plane. The cuts are all at the waist
Yeah.
or at the knees or at the shoulders, at the neck. So like there's not a lot of variety there. And that
No.
means a lot of the old poses, like their arms supposed to just stick out to the side, or one sticks out to the side and one sticks out to the front.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, they used to mix old models would have plastic, and then maybe if you got a special weapon, the special weapon would be in metal. So then you have to try to glue those together,
Oh, that was miserable. I remember
or
that. Yeah,
all
yeah.
metal models. And all metal models was their own building problem because they just didn't ever want to stay together. You end up having to pin those things and super glue them or epoxy them. And then even just as early as sixth edition, they came out with fine cast,
Oh, yeah. That
which
was
still exists today, but knock on wood, we haven't seen them produce
no,
any new
no, it's
models in
it's a relic at
Finecast for
this point.
quite some
Yeah,
time,
yeah, that's going
which has
away.
been fantastic. So we've come a long, long way in terms of the models.
We were
Now the
very close
paint. Well, let's talk about terrain real quick. Then we'll get the paints. Back in the day, back in my day,
to it.
Kicker. Back in your day, what did you use for terrain?
I mean, terrain. Okay, I mean, I didn't have much money as a kid, so terrain for me was like a cardboard box. Although it
Mm-hmm.
was, it was,
Mm-hmm.
it was. I'd go to like the hobby supply stores and just get like one of those styrofoam hills that like really didn't look like a hill, but it
Yep.
represented a hill. I don't know.
Oh,
What about you,
you
Steph?
went
I
to
mean,
the
come on.
store and bought a hill?
Yeah.
I took a chunk of styrofoam and painted it.
Oh, jeez. Well, no, I had like one hill. I mean, that's why I
Yeah.
can remember this hill. Like, I can only afford one hill, so I had boxes for the buildings, like just random
Yep.
like cereal boxes for
Well,
the buildings.
we would do, yeah, Mish got it. Boxes under a tablecloth.
Yeah, yeah,
So I do
yeah.
like textbooks and boxes under a
Oh my god,
tablecloth.
yeah. Oh, no, no, dude. Actually, you know what I did for terrain? This is
Yeah,
actually when I played another game, War Machine. But let's not talk about it. I got like
the dark times.
yeah, dark times, man. It was. I would get I would cut out like construction paper, like a green one,
Mhm.
and just cut into a weird shape, and that was a
Yep.
forest. And I cut a
Oh
blue
yeah.
one, and that was a
Yep.
pond or a lake. Yeah, and that
Mhm.
was my one
Mhm.
dimensional, or I guess two
Oh
dimensional
yeah.
terrain.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
So, there was there in terms of pre-made terrain, GW had a very limited range at that point. Now GW has a very large range. There's tons of great third-party companies that are making terrain, so there's like a plethora of options now
yeah.
for terrain. We might be on a podcast for a company that makes some pretty
Frontline
decent terrain.
Gaming quality terrain. The
Yes,
IGT
yes, yes,
series is
yes, yes.
amazing. Just saying. All right.
Paints. Look at I think if we scroll back a slide or two, we have the timeline of paint there. Look
Oh,
at
there we
that.
go. Look at that.
So
That is impressive.
this individual literally has put the timeline of these various paints and when they're released. So the current paint line we have, like the current way they package it, was released in 2012. That second one from the end, I had plenty of those. Those old black clear plastic pots with the black screw on
Yeah, yeah,
tops.
yeah.
Hated those things.
Terrible.
Um, but for the longest time, like the paints were just paint. There
Yeah.
wasn't anything special.
You
And
didn't
then
have all
and
these
the big deal was like
things.
in that 2008 column when they finally released, excuse me, washes. Washes
Washes.
were like a big crazy thing
Dude, Devil
that
in
came
Mud
out.
was game changing right there.
It was. That's I'm still remember guys like fighting over the last few pots of that stuff. Yeah, this is like
There
GW actually posted it themselves when they
the
came out with the range of washes that was like big and unique.
but
You
I don't
know,
know you, but before GW released washes, I would go to, like, the random, like, art supply store and get, like, inks. I think they were actually called
yeah,
inks or whatever, and I would just create my own non-GW, and mix it myself, and it was always a mess, and it was never consistent, and then they released the GW stuff, and that was, like, game changing
yeah.
there.
But back in the day, besides like going to the store, the hobby store and getting craft paints or getting GW stuff, there wasn't a ton of options.
No.
Now, there's what 4 or 5 large companies
Oh,
doing
yeah.
paints at this point, and then GW came out with contrast paints, which is a speed painting system, and then now Army Painters announced that they're releasing literal speed paints,
Yeah.
which are functionally very close to contrast,
Can
from
I
my
can I jump in
understanding.
real fast? I gotta tell you about the
Yep.
speed paint stuff. I may or may not have just gotten a very good email. Speed paint will probably, maybe, kind of, most likely, hopefully, be premiering at LVO, and
Sweet.
yeah, there should be like a hands-on first chance to get to
Nice.
play with it. Nothing's finalized yet, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
I'm getting their space right now, so yeah.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Oh,
Um,
dude, did you remember Tesseract Glow? That released this year, I believe. That
yeah.
paint was
Yeah.
so cool. Like, I don't even know what you call it. Is that a technical paint? But
Yeah,
that was a
there's a
Necron.
whole line now of these technical paints
Yeah,
where it's just like you paint it over a base and it gives a glow effect.
yeah. But, like,
Um,
Tesseract Glow, like, that's like, magic in a bottle. Like, you just plop it on there, now your, like, whole, like, las gun is glowing awesome. I used it for,
yeah,
like, lenses and stuff. Yeah, and then the technical paints too, right? I mean, I guess that's gonna go into the next category, I think,
yeah,
but
yeah. So basing and these box images are a great example of what basing used to be, which
God.
was goblin green painted on the base. If you want to get fancy, you put a little sand texture on that base.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
That was fancy,
Now
man.
we've got wide varieties of texture paints of different flocks, actually like
Tops.
resin bases or cast bases of plastic. So there's a wide variety in terms of that. In terms of the community, it used to be very isolated. Like this is kind of crazy what we're doing right now. Like we are kicker. You and I are in different states.
Yes.
Our producer's in a different country, and we're doing a show with tons of people around the world watching. It used to be very isolating before there was a large internet community, and even when there was an internet community, if anyone in the chat remembers, GW used to actually have a forum on their website.
Wait,
Like,
what? Really?
yeah, yeah, I remember that. You could go there and you could post and you could interact with the team, and then it turned toxic because the internet, and they shut it down. And for the longest time, we all just lived off of like Bolter and Chainsword and Daka Daka and Warseer, all these
Horsedeer,
little niche
wow. Yeah,
communities
yeah.
out there. And we didn't really like coalesce back into what we are until almost like 4 or 5 years ago. We finally kind of came all back together with social media and with YouTube and with
and
podcasts.
Warhammer community too, right?
Yeah,
Like that's
yeah,
an official news source to provide information directly to the community. I don't know. I
exactly.
mean,
We
you're
have
forgetting the big elephant in the room though.
what's that?
The app, man.
Yeah, yeah, we have an app now. Like that's a
Jeez.
weird thing to say. And yeah, you can throw stones at it. It's not the most functional thing ever. It definitely I don't use it for list building, but it's definitely a great tool to have when I just want to look up my rules real quick and show my opponent. And it's a quick way to reference that kind of stuff. And it's something that I can
Well,
carry in my pocket so that if I'm got some downtime at work and someone's asking a question and I was like, huh, what is the explodes profile on a shotgun dragsta? I don't have my codex with me, but I can pull that up pretty
you can
quick.
pull it up on
That's
your
an
phone.
easy way to
But
reference it.
the
Yeah.
app's attached to that whole basically Netflix equivalent. Never in a
Yeah,
million years would I have thought that
exactly.
there'd be like content, like television shows, basically, and
Yeah.
animations. I just never
Warhammer
thought
Plus.
that would
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah. I'll be the first to admit I have not consumed as much of that content as I would like, but it still
Mhm.
has a ton of great content. So I've very much enjoyed that. Um, the release rate. This is
Yes.
something that I really think everyone needs to take a hot minute and take a deep breath and realize what's going on. Um, Prior to sixth edition, and even the bit during sixth edition, on average, we were getting 2 or 3 codexes released a year. Period. And there were some codexes that would go 5 to 10 years without an update. Dark Eldar went several editions without an update at one point. Even this year, which has been a slow year for GW because of supply chain issues and COVID, they've released 9 codexes,
Yeah.
3 supplements, and they're slated to release 2 more
Two
codexes
more.
and another
Yeah.
supplement this year. So we're going to end up with a total of 11 codexes and 4 supplements in a year.
And that's pretty
That's
damn good.
that's unheard of.
Yeah.
Prior to the speed at which they started putting things out in eighth edition, and they've been able to maintain that even in this scenario. Um, so I think that's something to keep in mind here. Tools, Kicker. You wanted to talk about tools and
I
packaging.
want to talk. Yeah, I got a few here. We're gonna talk first about the GW packaging because this one has it just really bothers me. If you look at the old packaging, can our producer? Yeah, there we go. That's if you're watching our show, you can see the blisters. These are like old school GW packages right here, right? I don't know how to
Yep.
describe it. It's like a little blister package
Yeah,
that they call them.
yeah. I mean, they were like you put them on pegboard shelves, and
I mean, you have no idea what that model's actually looking like, right? It's there's no photo or anything. It's just the metal mini in a plastic box, right? You have no idea what it's going to look like. There's no direction in there. And now we have like this stuff, right? This is the kill rig, right? Just a
yeah,
gorgeous box that's got not only just like, cool artwork on the front of it, but on the back side of it, they have close-ups of all the little details. You have an idea how to paint those or what they even are, that they're there. I'm floored by simply just the GW packaging. That really makes me excited, and has also really hurt my wallet because now product just looks that much more sexy when you look at it at the
yeah,
store. And you're like, oh, yeah,
yeah,
that's something I want to buy. I know we talked about the app already, but I wanted to mention the app in terms of the fact that you can have all the rules on your phone. I mean, I know the app's not perfect yet, but it's getting there, right? And I used to lug around like 4 or 5 books, or just the
yeah.
rule book itself is this massive book. And now I don't take the rule book with me anymore. I do bring my codex, but if I need to reference like one of the main rules, it's right there on my phone. But then tools, you're right, Seth. Tools, dude. My X-Acto knife as a kid, that was the only tool I had, and yeah, I cut myself constantly. But if I, that was it. I went to a Michaels or a Hobby Lobby as a kid and just got
Now
an
you
X-Acto
got
knife.
the mold line scraper.
Oh yeah, right. And now we have these things, right? The mold line scraper, which I know some people think that they're over engineered or unnecessary or overpriced, and in some cases, people are right.
Yeah,
But the GW product, yes, it's very pricey. I can't deny that, but it works really damn well. And I've stopped cutting myself with my fingers, cutting my fingers.
I think that's a Kicker problem. I still use an
Right, that's a
X-Acto
kicker
knife.
problem, right? I stopped cutting myself all the time. But more importantly, like, have you used the I guess the Citadel clippers? Like, they're perfectly designed to clip. Obviously they're perfectly
Yeah,
designed. But it is pricey. But the thing is that I just never thought that I would have, Warhammer hobby specific tools to start using.
yeah,
Um, and I guess the last one that really, we were talking about this earlier before the show, and the one that really I've realized has probably been this one of the biggest ones was just dice. I just used to have your standard black and white dice, and now you
yeah.
can buy all sorts of dice. You remember those squig dice? I'm not saying this is better for the game. It's kind of cool. The squig dice they
Squig
released at one
dice.
point.
Oh my god, squig dice.
Yeah, squig dice, right?
I
But
love
like
them, but hate them.
and you can get those fancy, Forge World 30K dice. There's so many awesome dice you can get now, both made by GW, but also made by third companies. I was at SoCal and I talked to the guys from Norse Foundry. And have you seen these things? These are just these beautiful, like
metal
metal
dice.
dice that they make that like they weigh heavy. Like they're so satisfying to roll. So I don't know.
I
I think that's
also
kind
think
of
they're a
cool.
great thing to throw at your opponent when they piss you off with too many Thorpe involves.
I do not play against Seth if he's angry. All right, cool. Well, so I that was a little rundown, guys, on some of
Yeah,
the back in our day and now, and yeah, we're kind of bitter sometimes about the rules or how the meta is going, but at the end
yeah,
of the day, ninth
and
edition life is pretty good.
yeah. I mean, and Corey and Josh, I've seen you guys in chat going off at us for being shills.
Okay, yeah,
Um,
right.
let's the point of this is, yeah, we're saying that things used to be worse. Enjoy what you got,
Yeah,
but I think you just need to remember how far we've come,
yeah.
because there were many years where if the game was broken, there was no hoping GW fixed it. There were years before Reese started off
Hmm.
that there was no hoping that events would fix it. Um, so there is hope for the system, and I I don't want to see a mass exodus of the hobby. I don't want to
No.
see people running away. I'm just telling people to be patient, because my next point is in the competitive news. Yeah, orcs need an adjustment. Orcs are
That's a
very
fact.
strong.
Yeah, that's
Um,
a fact.
some people pulling data out of some of the systems. The freebooters list has a go first win rate of close to 90%.
That's ridiculous.
That's
Absolutely
that
ridiculous.
is that is broken. That is
Mhm.
broken. But the good news is, because we're in a better system than we've been in the past, we can expect some updates.
I mean, they've
I've
been
I've heard from a lot
consistently.
of
Yeah, go Seth.
sources that I'm not going to say who, but we should be expecting to see points increases in the Uniform Field Manual that specifically address the highly offending units in the freebooters list. So, and that is supposed to be released before the end of the year. That's nothing official from GW. I don't know anything, but that's what I'm hearing. So the point is, we're in a system where things can get adjusted, and it might feel like this is forever,
Yeah,
because this book has been out since July.
yeah,
But we're talking about a very short time span in a company that's not used to moving that fast.
yeah.
So I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt here that they're going to make the correction, because they don't want to see the system break down either. I'm trying to keep up with chat, guys, but you guys are going super fast.
You also have
Um,
guys like like let's be honest, Mike Brandt at the helm, right?
yeah,
Helping a lot, and he's got competitive play very much in his goals to keep 40K competitive. And obviously, if you have an army like the current build that's got a close to 90% win rate if they go first, like that's going to get rectified
yeah,
hopefully sooner than later.
yeah. And Nathan, I'm not saying accept that the game is broken. I'm just saying be patient. It will be fixed.
Yeah,
Things will be fixed. Just we have to be patient. And a lot of folks, like, and this is not me trying to push a narrative on you, but I know a lot of folks that have just said, hey, you know what, I'm taking a step back from the game and I'm playing Marvel Crisis Protocol, or I'm
hmm
gonna pick up AOS and see how that feels. A lot of people are trying out other things, and that's good, because we do have a diverse hobby. We can play other games. So but just don't like immediately just assume it's all screwed and burn your army like someone did with Tomb Kings years ago.
Don't do that. Don't do that, guys.
Yeah,
It is cyclical. Yeah, sometimes it's rough, but that's why it's not just a game. There's also the hobby components, which hopefully can keep
yeah,
you entertained and enjoy, in a fun mindset to get through these dark days. I'm pretty confident by the time LVO rolls around, we should hopefully be a little bit more balanced in terms of what's winning out
yeah.
there. Yeah,
Yeah, I am very hopeful that we get our Unitorm Field Manual in advance of that, and hopefully we can get a rebalancing of the meta prior to LVO. I think that would be a very exciting time to kind of end the season on.
yeah,
Um, so anyway, let's get into the ITC recap. Let's get into our 40K competitive
yes.
track. First and foremost, our new overlord himself, the
Oh
old
wow.
man, Brad Chester, is still number one.
Do you know what he
Um,
won to get him into that position?
he that was a couple shows
Okay, that
back.
was a couple shows back. All right, cool.
It was the Michigan GT got him
You're
up
right.
there.
Yeah,
Yep,
yeah,
that
yeah.
got him
You're
up
right.
there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Michigan.
So yeah, and he's been kind of sitting in that spot. In terms of like big events left on the horizon, there's really kind of like the New Orleans event. There's
GW Austin.
the GW, yeah, GW. Sorry, Yeah, that's what I was thinking in my head was the GW event, and then I was going to be like, and the FLG event, but I said them backwards.
Uh,
Those are kind of the biggest events left on the calendar. I don't know
Warzone
mathematically.
too, right? Isn't
Yeah,
Warzone right now?
Warzone's running around 80 players right now.
Okay.
I don't know mathematically if that's going to be enough to shift the placing. So this might be what we see for our placings in the top five
Oh,
or
wow.
so until we get right up to LVO. LVO certainly is still mathematically going to be able to shake this up. So I wouldn't count any of these players out just yet in terms of snagging that overall
Yeah.
spot. Number 2 is still the loveliest hair in 40K, Sean Naden. Number 3, formerly the Boy King, John Lennon, now known as Joffrey. Number 4, Jack Harpster. And number 5, Colin McDade. And one day, John is going to hear me make that joke and respond to it. Maybe today,
I
maybe
mean,
not.
he's gonna smack you, man. Jeez, he'll see you at the next event, man.
He's shorter than me, a lot shorter than me.
Most people are shorter
He's
than
a
you,
lot.
Seth.
It's true. 40K hobby track. So we have some movement here. Finally, we have a new number 1, and by quite a margin. If you remember in the past, JT and Lee were just a few points apart. Well, now JT has opened that up with his placing at SoCal, and
Yep.
JT Steger is our new number 1.
All
So
right,
that
JT.
bumps Lee Harris down to number 2. Number 3 is Scott Boucher. Number 4, Noah Bedham. And number 5, Nicholas Swanker. And JT was kind enough to send us some photos of his army. So we have these beautiful Black Templars, very, very grimdark.
Yeah.
Nothing happy ever happening on any of these models. Everything is doom and gloom. Everyone is a heretic. I'd be careful, chat. They're going to come purge some of you because some of y'all need to get purged, I think. I'm just kidding with you guys.
JT, like that guy,
Yeah.
his army. I'm sure he'll be at LVO. If you have the opportunity, swing by. He will have his
Yep.
up there for the painting competition. Check it out.
Oh, yeah.
It's
They're
it's
looking
hard
good.
to paint grim dark and still super super clean, and he just pulls it off.
It looks really good. Yep. Look at that. Look at that. I'm assuming
Oh,
that's some sort
jeez.
of chaplain. He's got his stick and then his pimp hand. He'll make him use his pimp hand kicker. All right.
Where else are we at? We got AJ.
AOS competitive.
Yeah.
AOS competitive track. So our number 1 is Gavin Greigar. Number 2 is Caleb Walters. Number 3, James O'Brien. Number 4, Anthony Trentinelli. And number 5, Noe Aquino. Moving into the AOS hobby track. And I'm just going to continue to put out the call for any of you guys to message me because I'm messaging random people on Facebook with your names at this point trying to find you. So if anyone knows any of these guys, get them in touch with me because I want to see their models. Number 1 is Nick Garcia. Number 2, Ian Wood. Number 3, Christopher Hernandez. Number 4, Derek Page. And number 5, No Aquino.
And Kill Team.
Kill Team. Finally, for Kill Team, we haven't seen a much movement here yet either. Number 1 is Fernando Marcos. Number 2, Daniel Marcos. So these Marcos have locked up the 1 and 2. Number 3 is Lazarus. Number 4 is Rio Wilfong. And number 5 is Mikel Wago. All right.
name.
So that wraps up all of our competitive ITC track updates. I think we've got time for a few listener questions before we wrap this one up.
Oh my God! Did you see this when they came through, Seth?
Which one? Oh,
how is Kellogg's not a sponsor yet of the show?
I do really think that you need to look into that kicker.
All right, I'm gonna go work on that. I'll go work on that. Although, to be honest, don't tell too many people. I also like General Mills too. Maybe we should get both of them. I don't know. Is it?
Ooh, we should get them to compete for your love.
Yes. I'm very okay with that.
Yeah.
Do you have anything that's pulling up that we need to that's pressing?
I mean, we kicked the hornet's nest pretty good in chat.
Yeah.
Which is what Hey, chat. Yeah. Guess what? That was the intent. The intent was to get people talking and engaged.
Guys, honestly, yeah, we're not going to deny that the competitive side of 40K right now is very much in an awkward position.
Yeah.
But we're fortunate to at least have, some of the awesome things that aren't necessarily directly correlated to the competitive meta. If
folks can think back, I think the best place that, people are like, it's bad as 7th. I don't think it's as bad as 7th. But if you think back to
even in 8th with the Castellan,
it was like I'm trying to think when that exactly was. That was like summer of like 2018, maybe, where you had the Castellan Blood Angels Guard combo, and then you had like it was like an Eldar flyer list, and then there was Yanari. Like these things were all really oppressive. If you didn't play one of these things, you were just gonna probably take an L.
Yeah,
and we were in a bad spot then too, but fortunately, GW listened. GW corrected a lot of their errors, and they FAQ'd how some of the stratagems worked. They changed points costs. They updated an army, in that case, Yanari. So they really did a lot to try to fix the game. So I'm not counting them out yet.
Yeah.
I'm giving them the chance to try to fix what they've created. Yes, they've made some rules, and I think that in honest critique, and I'm not an employee of anyone's company, so you can say whatever you want about me. But I think if GW can get their books moving forward sorted out, and to be fair, the Grey Knights book, the Black Templars book, and the Thousand Sons book were all pretty balanced. They're strong, but
Yeah.
they're not broken.
Yeah.
Um, you give them time, and they're gonna find the sweet spot to get Admech, Orcs, and Drukhari dialed in.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it can take. We can all agree that it takes GW a little bit longer than
yeah,
we would like,
yeah,
but let's be honest, they're moving way faster than they used to, and I know that's not the answer we want to hear because we want instantaneous gratification and
yeah,
correction, and maybe hopefully one day the rule set's all digital. I don't know if that's realistic because GW is a publishing company; they like having books, but hopefully they can start to update rules a little bit faster. If it was all digital, it'd be instantaneous, I'm sure, but they are going faster and faster and faster, and we know they're responding to community, and the fact that GW has their own events and they can see the results at their events right then and there
yeah,
is only going to be in our favor as
yeah,
competitive players.
yeah. So I think we just give them time. I'm not ready to pull the ripcord on a community fac or anything like that yet. I know there's been some people in Europe talking about doing some community facts. Um, I think that fractures us as a community. It becomes very hard for us to talk about the game when different regions and different areas are playing with completely different rule sets. So I'm not ready to go there myself yet. Um, some people certainly that's how they want to play the game, and that's fine. If that's how you want to play the game right now, that's fine. But I'm still holding out hope that we get some fix from the big company itself, so that we can all be playing kind of on the same system.
Yeah. Hey, Seth, just because I got this message
Yep.
texted to me, do you like the idea? Like, do you like the way that the chapter approve is that that they like the most recent chapter approve? We didn't really change the secondaries much at all, right? But
Yeah.
do you like the idea that maybe does change more
Yeah.
significantly each
I
year to kind of keep everyone on their toes? You know what I mean?
I would really like to see a significant overhaul to the secondaries and the
Yeah.
missions, because I feel at this point, um, a lot of people have solved the secondaries. You
Exactly.
can build your list
Exactly.
and you can say, okay, I'm going to build for retrieve Octarius data and either engage and stranglehold,
Hmm.
and then some armies are blessed with good secondaries in their codex. Some armies are not.
Yeah.
So if you got a good secondary, you can just build for that. Like Space Marines can easily build for that. Drukhari can build for that. Admech can build for that. The Psyker armies can build for those. If you're a haves not, it can be a little harder, but you can still build around them with things like To the Last. So
Yeah.
I would like to see an overhaul of that system. I would like to see a lot of new secondaries to kind of give us that weird period of figuring out the missions again, because we
Yeah.
haven't had that for a while, and I just want to
It
spend
was
some time
fun,
figuring
right?
those out. Yeah.
Right when it landed, like, right when Ninth landed, it was like, "Oh, this is kinda
Well,
new. We gotta all figure
yeah.
out this break
Yeah,
this code."
so I would like to see some new mission sets, and I don't know when we're supposed to be getting a new chapter approved. I'm hoping it's sometime early in the new year. So if anyone in GW is hearing that, please early in the new year.
Yeah.
I think if we get a good points update in the next Unitorum Field Manual, I think that'll go a long way in at least trying to even out the gameplay that we have, even though the missions are kind of becoming a bit old in my opinion.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's my thoughts on it. But
Alright.
my
I
my
have to
work
ask.
phone is blowing up, guys.
Okay,
So I've got to wrap this up.
we're gonna wrap it up. We're gonna wrap it up, guys. We'll see you next week. Send us. We'll be posting a question form in the
Yep.
community chat so we can get some formal questions and response.
Well, thanks everyone for joining us. We really hope you